Beautiful people, it is time to back up your work. It is time to give your work, your craft, your output, your end result, the respect and love and care that it needs. Because I recently went through this with a friend who lost all of his photos, and it was not a great experience. I want to just raise my hand here to the community and let you guys know, just keeping your photos on a hard drive or on your computer in a folder somewhere, or just keeping them on your on a thumb drive or external hard drive, it is not good enough anymore. The urgency behind this is that gut-wrenching feeling that you essentially took years to be proficient in your craft. You took years learning the camera, learning the exposure triangle, learning composition, learning subject, learning storytelling, learning photo editing, only to just have really what is a representation of your passion, your love, and your time just knocking about. That's not good enough. We need to do better. And so I want to introduce to you a method called the 3-2-1. 3-2-1 is a very simple concept. It's something that comes over from the IT world. Essentially, it stands for 3 versions of your data. 2 of those versions are backups, and 1 should be offsite. So what does that mean? The first version is, sure, sitting on your laptop, your computer in a folder. For me, it's called production or product studio. And I have 2 of them, one for my professional work, so that's my client studio, and I have one for my creative work, that's my creative studio, all right? And all my photos are there. 2 backups. So if my computer dies, sure, I just lost a piece of hardware, but I didn't lose my work. And think about this. I've had this thought to myself when going on site to shoot client work or wherever, or even when I'm out doing street photography and I'm in dodgy neighborhoods, I think to myself, ooh, if life happens right now, can I get my secure digital card out of my camera? You can have the camera, it'll be replaced, but the images that I just took cannot be replaced. And it's really continuing that train of thought. The computer at this very moment, sure, it is the valuable piece because it's $4,000 worth. I don't know, it's an i9 sitting here with a 4090. Like, that's a lot of big boy computing power. However, if I were to lose all of my photos right now, that compute power means nothing. And the price that it costs means nothing. Literally, my work is priceless, and you have to treat it as such. So this one version that you have sitting on there, that's your active data. That's 1. Let's talk about the 2 backups, right? I have 2 different flavors of this. One is something you can go as cheap as $160. You can get on Amazon and get you one of these Western Digital NASs. And what a NAS is really is it stands for network attached storage. It's this little enclosure, and it has 2 hard drives in it. Those hard drives run in redundancy mode, or you should run them in redundancy mode. So if one hard drive dies, the other is still working until you replace it. And when you replace it, then it copies the data back over to the new hard drive. So you always have 2 versions of your data there, and you can always be relatively safe, or you can be relatively sure that your data is safe. And these NASs, there's a few different ways that you can get to them. You can connect them to the FireWire port, USB on your computer. You can connect them to, some of them have Wi-Fi. You can connect them to your network and access them remotely. You can connect them with your Ethernet cable. There's so many different ways to make it work. But the point is, I would like to elevate your thinking of your data, because you may be asking, well, what's the difference? I got them on a thumb drive or external hard drive. Yeah, but there's no redundancy there. And that's the key to why a NAS is important. It's like taking 2 external hard drives, mashing them in one, making sure that if one dies, the other's still operational. Super important. You could also elevate this quite a bit, and you can go with something called a Synology NAS. And Synology NASs, they're a little more expensive, $600 and up. I think you can find some even a little cheaper, but they're definitely a little more expensive and more complex in nature. Instead of 2 drives, you can get them that have some that has 4 drives, which is even more redundancy, or you can get some that has 6 drives, right? And then also they got a lot of fun stuff that you can get with these Synology drives. You can do things like have your private cloud, which I do not recommend. Please do not have your NAS exposed to the internet. Different topic for a different day. But you can have like VMs, you can host. They've got a lot of applications, like I think Plex is like one of them that built in for your movies and all this stuff. So you can scale up to a Synology to get a little bit more complex, a little more serious redundancy. And then also with Synology, you'll find the hardware generally has a little more power to it. So faster processors, more RAM, so the data can be copied over faster, it can be available faster for you, all that good stuff. So that's our 2. 1 copy on your computers, your active copy. 2 is on your NAS, your Synology or your Western Digital. And then your 3rd, right, which is the 3-2-1, your 3rd is what we like to call offsite. Really, the way to understand how this will work is you've got your computer, that's your active data, all your photos are there. And now you have your NAS, all your information is backed up in a redundant mode on your NAS. So you're feeling good about yourself. What happens when there's a natural disaster at your home? What happens when there's a fire, a flood, or Mr. Thief guy comes through and grabs your shit in the middle of the night? What do you do? This is where offsite comes in. For me, I use 2 different methods of offsite. I'm also an IT professional, so these things come second nature to me. I'm happy to pay for so many different levels of sophistication. But your 3rd version of offsite backup could be something so simple like OneDrive, Google Drive, or iCloud. That's it. That's all there is. So I've got my data, it's on my computer because that's where I'm working on it. That's where I see it. That's where I edit all my stuff. And then when I'm done, it gets copied over to my NAS. So if my computer takes a shit, replace the computer, copy my stuff back from the NAS. But then if my computer takes a shit and my NAS is in danger for whatever reason, I can bring it back down from the cloud. I've got 2 clouds and you pick one. And I really want you guys to think about this in a serious way. Come up with a budget. For me, I think a budget of $500 is enough because you'd spend that on a lens, you'd spend that on a used camera, you'd spend that on some cables or some filters or a camera bag, or spend it to protect your hard work. Spend it to protect your craft, your time. It is worth it. You need to start taking backups seriously. Feel free to hit the comment section down below with any questions. I will always be here to answer them for you and guide you through that process. I can even recommend some videos for you to watch to get you up to speed. But it's a very heartbreaking thing to watch a fellow photographer go through that process of really just losing all your shit. Not a great way to exist in life for people like us. My name is Ramon. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. If you liked the video, you found it valuable, hit the like button. Check out some of my older videos. And if you like my style, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you around. Thank you again for your time. I'm out of here. Peace.